Good morning. It is 6:47 a.m. on Monday, May 21st, 2018. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, um, we're only a few days away from my trip to Balticon, which means that it is now time for me to start getting stressed out about the stuff that I haven't prepared yet. Uh, the time has come. But there's not really a lot more to say about that now. But I'm excited for Balticon coming up. However, what I will talk about is a couple of movies. One is that I saw Deadpool 2 yesterday. I actually saw two movies at the theater. One was that I went to see Porco Rosso on the big screen as part of Ghibli Fest. This is Porco Rosso is a Hayao Miyazaki animated film from Japan. If you are not familiar, it features a lot of seaplanes and a pilot turned into a pig by a curse. Um, and it's very, very good, and I love it. But I had seen it before, just not on the big screen, so that was exciting. But then I also stayed, hung around at the theater and saw Deadpool 2, and I think it is pretty good. Um, I weirdly have a hard time in my brain trying to say, like, I feel like the question that a lot of people talking about Deadpool 2 have immediately gone to is comparing it to the first one. And I don't know, I always resist doing that with a franchise because it becomes additive to me rather than competitive in the sense that instead of saying, well, is Deadpool 1 better or Deadpool 2 better? I start feeling like Deadpool 1 and 2 together are a thing, and it starts feeling weird to say, well, this part's better than that part. I mean, obviously, rationally, I can see that. But what I will say is, with there being one kind of disappointing plot point that's kind of tropey and also kind of not called out, even given that that's usually Deadpool's thing. Um, yeah, so like I generally speaking, it's very good. I liked it. It's funny. I enjoy it. I recommend it. I don't want to be stuck on this bit that I'm talking about, and I don't want to spoil it either. Um, but generally speaking, it's very good. I liked it. I don't know. I don't feel blown away by it. I think part of what the struggle there that I'm feeling there is that the first one when it came out was kind of just like amazing. It just sort of felt like nothing. There's not been ever been a superhero movie like this. But for Deadpool 2, it's like, has there been a superhero movie like this before? Yeah, it was the first one. And now this one is like more of that. And that's not a bad thing, but it's also not a groundbreaking, exhilarating, exciting new thing either. And I think that's maybe where my brain is sticking a little bit. So in any event, if you wanted to go see it, I recommend it. I think that you'll enjoy it. And there you have it. I think the other movie that I wanted to talk about a little bit was uh, a movie that I first saw on TV, probably Nickelodeon, back when it was relatively new and showing all sorts of weird stuff because it didn't have so much of its own original programming at that time. And it was I knew even at the time that it was a Japanese animated movie that just had a lot of really kind of horrifying imagery in it, not in a like visceral sense, but in a symbolic sense. I don't know. I just mean stuff, imagery that became kind of nightmare fuel, so to speak, to use the TV tropes language for it. Um, and that stuff kind of really stayed with me. But then, even as I grew up, even though I would still think about this movie, once at least every couple of years, at least, just it would kind of come to my brain of like, oh yeah, that movie was messed up, wasn't it? but I never knew what it was called and wasn't able to like find it and like say, yeah, to prove to my adult brain that yes, that movie actually existed. And then I discovered over the weekend that movie is called Unico in the Land of Magic, or the Island of Magic, excuse me. And that is definitely the movie that I was thinking of. And it is available to watch. It's actually on YouTube, but it's also on like VRV, Crunchyroll, and a couple of other streaming places if you guys want to check it out. But I did rewatch it yesterday, and whew, um, it is weird. And it's what's strange about it is that it's got a lot of stuff in it that you could imagine a robot thinking is child friendly. Because it's like, well, there's no swearing, and there's no blood and guts, there's no nudity or sex or anything, although there's a few weird spots where a little girl is standing in high wind and it keeps blowing her skirt up. Not in a like super fan servicey way, but just in a way of like, that's a little weird. But generally speaking, it's not like, it doesn't have adult content in any of the normal sorts of ways. But that said, the things that do happen are kind of horrible in a really profound way. Like, basically, you have uh, a little girl who discovers that her long lost and very loved older brother has now become the apprentice to a horrifying alien like evil wizard that is forcing him to turn everybody into, quote, living puppets, which essentially means these weird generic stone block men. And he does that even to their parents. It is not clear at that time if that is something that can be recovered from at all, ever. These living puppets then marched onto a ship and used to build the walls of this huge nightmare island. There's all sorts of weird demon creatures, and just, children put into extreme danger. And I don't even know what else to say about it. It's super weird. I recommend that if that sounds interesting to you at all, like as an adult, I mean, it's not like scary. It's more just like, ugh. It's weird. It's a very weird movie. But I now know what it is. I know that I'm not insane and that this movie actually existed, and it is called Unico in the Island of Magic. All right, so with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get ready for work, and I will talk to you tomorrow for 5 more minutes.